He was just a poor boy who walked miles to leave flowers on a simple grave. No one knew his name or why he kept coming back on the same days. Until one day, a curious millionaire decided to follow in his footsteps, and when he read the name on the tombstone, he almost fainted with shock. If this story interested you, subscribe to our channel, don't forget to like this video, and tell us which city you're watching us from. We'll keep going. It was always early morning when he came. The fog still clung to the weathered gravestones of Pine Grove Cemetery, and the first rays of sunlight barely penetrated the canopy of old maple trees that had watched over Salem's departed for centuries. From the caretaker's cottage, Frank Winters observed the small figure that emerged silently from the mist, alone, clutching simple wildflowers gathered from who knows where. The boy never missed his visits, Monday, Thursday, Sunday. The same, ritual repeated with clockwork precision. He would kneel before a modest headstone in the forgotten corner of the cemetery, leave his flower, remain for several minutes in perfect stillness, and disappear before the grounds filled with other visitors. For months now, Frank and the other groundskeepers had grown accustomed to the boy's presence. Small, thin, with worn-out clothes and distant eyes that seemed to hold more sorrow than any child should bear. He never spoke, never asked for anything, just visited and departed. He was like a living ghost, bound to this place by something no one understood. On a particularly gloomy Sunday in October, Ethan Mitchell pulled his Range Rover through the wrought iron gates of Pine Grove Cemetery. As the CEO of Mitchell Development, he was a recognizable figure in Salem, the man responsible for the revitalization of the historic downtown district, though not without controversy among preservationists. Today, however, he wasn't thinking about business. He had come to visit the grave of his former business partner, James Donovan, who had passed away 1 year ago to the day. Ethan followed the winding path toward the newer section of the cemetery, his polished leather shoes crunching against the gravel. He stopped when something caught his eye, a small figure kneeling before a weathered headstone in an isolated corner of the older section. A boy, no more than 7 or 8 years old, placing a single wildflower on a grave. Something about the scene made Ethan pause. Perhaps it was the solemnity of the child's posture, or the strange juxtaposition of youth and death, or maybe it was something in the boy's profile, a familiar curve of the chin, the way his hair fell across his forehead. Ethan couldn't explain the sudden tightness in his chest. He continued to his destination, placed the arrangement of lilies on James's grave, and said a few quiet words to his old friend, but his thoughts kept returning to the boy. On his way back to the car, Ethan deliberately took a different path that would lead him past the older section where he had seen the child. The boy was gone, but Ethan found himself drawn to the headstone. Simple granite, weathered by time and elements. As he read the name carved into the stone, his body went cold. Rebecca Collins, 1988-2017. Ethan stumbled backward, his hand instinctively reaching for the nearest tree to steady himself. Rebecca. His Rebecca. The woman who had brought color and chaos into his meticulously planned life 6 years ago, who had disappeared without explanation after their turbulent 8-month relationship. The woman whose absence had left a void he had tried to fill with. More work, more success, more of everything except what truly mattered. In the days that followed, Ethan couldn't shake the image of the boy from his mind. His work suffered. He was distracted during meetings, abrupt with his staff. At night, he lay awake beside his sleeping wife, Amanda, staring at the ceiling and calculating dates, possibilities, coincidences that might not be coincidences at Charity. He returned to the cemetery the following Thursday before dawn, parking his car down the street and waiting. Sure enough, just as the morning mist began to lift, the small figure appeared, following the same path, carrying another wildflower. Ethan watched from a distance, his heart pounding against his ribs. The boy's ritual was the same. Kneel, place the flower, sit in silence, depart. This time, Ethan followed discreetly. The boy walked through Salem's historic district, past the witch museums and tourist shops still closed at this early hour, and toward the less prosperous north side of town. Ethan maintained his distance, occasionally ducking behind parked cars or storefronts, when the boy would pause or look back, sensing a presence. Finally, the child turned down a narrow alley between two abandoned warehouses near the old cannery district. Ethan waited several minutes before following. What he found made his stomach turn. A makeshift shelter had been constructed against the brick wall of the warehouse, cardboard boxes arranged carefully, a tarp stretched overhead to keep out rain, newspapers folded as bedding. A thin, mangy dog lifted its head as Ethan approached, offering a half-hearted growl before recognizing he posed no immediate threat. Of the boy there was no sign. He must have continued through the alley to whatever served as his school or daily routine. But the evidence was clear. The child was living in conditions no one, especially a child, should endure. Back in his downtown office, Ethan stared out the window at Salem Harbor, watching fishing boats return with their morning catch. His mind raced with questions. Who was this boy? Was he connected to Rebecca? Could he possibly be No, he wouldn't jump to conclusions, but he needed answers. Ethan called in his executive assistant. "Diane, I need you to find someone for me discreetly." "Of course, Mr. Mitchell. Who are we looking for?" "I need information about Rebecca Collins. She passed away in 2017. Lived in Salem, probably North Salem. I need to know what happened to her, if she had any family, particularly..." He hesitated. "Any children?" Diane, ever professional, simply nodded and made a note. "Anything else?" "Yes. I need a good social worker, someone trustworthy, compassionate, who knows how to approach children in difficult situations." That evening, Ethan arrived home to his Beacon Hill brownstone later than usual. Amanda was hosting a fundraiser for the Boston Symphony Orchestra, an organization her family had supported for generations. The house was filled with Boston's elite, old money mingling with new, cocktails flowing, polite laughter echoing against hardwood floors and ancestral portraits. "There you are," Amanda said, appearing at his side in a perfectly tailored black dress, her blonde hair swept into an elegant updo. "Mrs. Cabot was just asking about the Waterfront Commons project." Ethan forced a smile, kissing his wife's cheek mechanically. "I'll go find her." "Is everything all right?" Amanda's blue eyes narrowed slightly. "You seem distracted lately." "Just work stress," he replied, already moving toward the crowded living room. "Nothing to worry about." But there was everything to worry about, because Ethan Mitchell, who had built his reputation on careful planning, calculated risks, and emotional detachment, was about to make a decision based purely on an unexplainable pull toward a child he didn't know. A child who visited the grave of a woman he once loved. A child who might change everything. The information came faster than Ethan expected. Diane handed him a manila folder 3 days later, her expression carefully neutral. "Everything I could find on Rebecca Collins," she said. "It wasn't much. She lived a quiet life." Alone in his office, Ethan spread the contents across his desk. A newspaper obituary, barely 3 lines long, a death certificate listing complications from pneumonia as the cause, a few public records, showing an address in North Salem, employment at a local art gallery and later a coffee shop, a single photograph from an art exhibition where her ceramic work had been featured. In the photo, Rebecca stood beside a display of delicate blue pottery, her auburn hair falling in waves around her face, her smile tentative but proud. Ethan ran his finger over her image, remembering. They had met at just such an exhibition, where his company had been a sponsor. She had challenged his conventional views on art, made him laugh, pulled him into a world of creativity and spontaneity that had been missing from his structured life. What the file didn't contain was any mention of a child. Ethan's phone buzzed. A text from Catherine Reeves, the social worker he'd hired. "Following up on the situation we discussed. Can meet tomorrow, 9 a.m. Joho Coffee on Derby." The next morning, over steaming cups of coffee in the corner of the bustling cafe, Catherine provided her assessment. "Based on what you've told me and my own observations, the boy's name is Noah. No last name that I could confirm, though the school records I accessed list him as Noah Collins. He's 7 years old, attends Bentley Elementary, sporadically. The teachers know him as a quiet, intelligent child who often comes to school hungry and inappropriately dressed for the weather. What about guardian information? Ethan asked, his coffee untouched. Catherine hesitated. That's where things get complicated. There's an adult male who occasionally drops him off, Mike Flanagan, former building superintendent at the apartment complex where Noah and his mother lived. But he's not a legal guardian. He's just helping out, I guess. Social services has been alerted several times, but Noah vanishes whenever they show up. He's fallen through the cracks in the system. How is that possible? A 7-year-old boy living essentially homeless? It happens more than you'd think, Catherine said grimly, especially when the child is resourceful and has even minimal adult assistance. This Flanagan character provides just enough support to keep Noah from being in immediate danger, but not enough to actually change his situation. Ethan drummed his fingers on the table. What's next? Normally, I'd say we contact DCF immediately, but given Noah's history of evading the system, I'm concerned he'd disappear again. We need to build trust first. She studied Ethan's face. May I ask why you're so invested in this particular child? You develop properties worth millions, Mr. Mitchell. Surely you encounter unfortunate situations regularly. Ethan considered, his answer carefully. Let's just say I knew his mother. I feel a certain responsibility. Catherine didn't press further. Well, I've left some food and clean blankets at his shelter. Nothing that would scare him off. No notes, no business cards. Just help without strings. It's a first step. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan followed Catherine's guidance. They left small offerings at Noah's makeshift home. Nutritious, non-perishable foods, a warmer sleeping bag, a flashlight with extra batteries. Ethan had a construction crew coincidentally repair the leaking roof of the abandoned warehouse, improving the shelter without directly interfering with it. Then, one rainy Tuesday, Diane called Ethan out of a meeting. Sir, there's a Catherine. Reeves on line 1 says it's urgent. Noah's dog had fallen ill. The boy had finally approached Catherine when he found her leaving supplies, desperate for help with his only companion. He was currently at a veterinary clinic on Essex Street. When Ethan arrived, he found Noah sitting on a plastic chair in the waiting room, his small frame nearly swallowed by an oversized raincoat that had to be Catherine's. The social worker stood nearby, talking quietly with the veterinarian. The boy's eyes were fixed on the floor, his hands clutching a worn backpack. Noah, Catherine said gently, this is Mr. Mitchell. He's a friend who wants to help. Noah didn't look up, didn't acknowledge Ethan's presence at all. The veterinarian, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, approached. Your dog has a severe respiratory infection, but he should recover with proper medication and care, she explained to Noah. He'll need a warm, dry place to recover. He can stay here? Noah asked. His voice so small Ethan barely heard it. For tonight, the vet said, but after that. Noah, Catherine interjected, Mr. Mitchell has a proposal. Would you listen to what he has to say? Finally, the boy looked up, and Ethan felt a jolt of recognition so powerful it nearly knocked him backward. Those eyes, Rebecca's eyes, the exact shade of hazel with the same questioning intensity. Ethan crouched down to meet Noah at eye level. I knew your mother, he said simply. She was special to me. I'd like to help you and your dog, if you'll let me. Suspicion clouded the boy's features. How did you know her? We were friends years ago. I just recently learned that she... Ethan paused, searching for the right word. That she's gone, and that you've been taking care of yourself. That's a lot for anyone, especially someone your age. Noah studied Ethan's face with unsettling scrutiny for a 7-year-old. Did you leave the food and stuff? Yes, Ms. Reeves and I both did. Why? Because your mother would have wanted someone to look out for you. Something in Noah's expression softened slightly. Max needs medicine. Max is your dog? Ethan asked. Noah nodded. Well, Max will get his medicine, and a warm place to stay while he gets better, and so will you if you want. I'm not going to foster care, Noah stated flatly. They'll separate me and Max. No foster care, Ethan promised. I have a guest house on my property. You and Max could stay there while we figure things out. You'd have your own space, but people nearby if you need anything. Catherine shot Ethan a warning look. This wasn't what they had discussed. But Ethan continued, "No pressure, you can leave any time, but it's getting cold and Max needs to recover somewhere warm." Noah considered this, his small face solemn with decision-making too weighty for his years. Finally, he nodded once. "Just until Max is better." Back at his Beacon Hill home, Ethan made a phone call from his car. "Amanda, something's come up. Dire situation with a child in need." He explained a sanitized version of Noah's circumstances, emphasizing the temporary nature of the arrangement and the fact that the boy would be staying in the guest house, not the main residence. Amanda's response was cool. "You've made quite a few unilateral decisions lately, Ethan. A social worker, a homeless child, this isn't like you." "It's temporary," Ethan repeated. "A few weeks at most." "The Heritage Foundation Gala is this weekend. What am I supposed to tell people? Tell them we're helping a child in need. Isn't that what your foundation claims to do?" The silence on the other end was frigid. "We'll discuss this when you get home," Amanda finally said, disconnecting the call. As Ethan drove toward the veterinary clinic where Catherine waited with Noah, his mind raced with practical concerns. Clothing, food, schooling. But beneath these thoughts ran a deeper current of questions. Was he doing this out of guilt, obligation? Or was there something more, some bond he couldn't yet name, but felt with increasing certainty with each passing day? His phone buzzed with a text from Diane. "Found something. Rebecca. Collins listed an emergency contact at her last job. Michael Flanagan, same person who's been looking out for the boy." The pieces were starting to connect, but the full picture remained elusive. As Ethan pulled up to the clinic, he saw Noah standing outside with Catherine, clutching his backpack, with one hand and the leash of his now medicated dog with the other. The boy's face was a mask of caution and hope, vulnerability and strength. Whatever his motivations, Ethan knew one thing with absolute certainty. He couldn't let this child down, not again. The Mitchell Estates guest house sat at the far end of the property, separated from the main residence by a carefully manicured garden and a small orchard of apple trees. Originally built as a caretaker's cottage in the 1920s, Ethan had renovated it 3 years ago into a modern 2-bedroom retreat with vaulted ceilings and large windows overlooking the property's back acreage. "This is all for us?" Noah asked, standing in the doorway, Max leaning weakly against his leg. "All yours," Ethan confirmed, "for as long as you need it." The boy stepped inside cautiously, as if expecting a trap. He surveyed the space with a wariness that broke Ethan's heart. No child should be so distrustful of kindness. Max sniffed around before settling on the plush area rug, his medication making him drowsy. "The refrigerator is stocked," Ethan said. "Bathroom has everything you might need. There are some clothes in the bedroom that should fit you. Nothing fancy, just basics." "Why are you doing all this?" Noah asked suddenly, turning to face Ethan with those disconcertingly direct eyes. Ethan considered deflecting again, but decided on honesty. "I told you I knew your mother. What I didn't tell you is that we were close once, very close. When I found out what happened to her, and that you were on your own, I couldn't just walk away." "Did you love her?" The question, so blunt and unexpected, caught Ethan off guard. Yes, I did. But things were complicated." Noah nodded as if this confirmed something he'd already suspected. "She had a picture of you in her special box." Ethan's heart stuttered. "She kept a picture of me?" "With other important stuff. Mr. Flanagan has it now. He saved it when we had to leave the apartment." Before Ethan could process this information, headlights swept across the guest house windows. Amanda had arrived home. He tensed involuntarily. "I should go speak with my wife," he said. "Catherine will stay with you tonight. Make sure you have everything you need. I'll check on you tomorrow. Try to get some rest, okay?" Noah didn't respond, already kneeling beside Max, gently stroking the dog's matted fur. The confrontation with Amanda was every bit as difficult as Ethan had anticipated. She stood in their master bedroom, arms crossed, her face a mask of controlled displeasure. "You should have consulted me before bringing a stranger onto our property," she said, her voice measured. "Especially a child with unknown background and behaviors. He's 7 years old, Amanda. He's been living in an alley with a sick dog. What was I supposed to do?" "Call the proper authorities. There are systems in place for situations like this." "Systems that failed him," Ethan countered. "Besides, it's temporary, just until we can make better arrangements." Amanda's eyes narrowed. "What aren't you telling me, Ethan? You don't make impulsive decisions, you don't get personally involved in charity cases. So why this boy?" Ethan hesitated. "I knew his mother. She was a former employee at one of our downtown properties. It wasn't entirely a lie, but it wasn't the full truth either. Rebecca had briefly worked at the gallery in the Mitchell building before they became involved. But Ethan wasn't ready to reveal the full nature of their relationship. Not yet. Not until he was certain about Noah. Amanda studied him for a long moment. "Fine, but he stays in the guest house, and I want that social worker here whenever you're not. I don't want to be responsible if something happens." "Of course," Ethan agreed, relieved the conversation hadn't escalated further. Over the next 2 weeks, a tentative routine developed. Noah began attending Bentley Elementary regularly, with Catherine driving him in the morning and picking him up in the afternoon. Ethan would visit the guest house each evening, often bringing dinner, and staying to help with homework or simply sit in companionable silence while Noah read or drew. Max steadily improved, his coat becoming shinier, his energy returning. Ethan was careful to give Noah space, to not push too hard for connection. But he couldn't help noticing the similarities. The way Noah furrowed his brow when concentrating, the same expression Ethan saw in his own mirror. The boy's artistic talent, so reminiscent of Rebecca's, yet with a precision that Ethan recognized from his own childhood drawings. One evening, Ethan arrived at the guest house to find Noah at the kitchen table, surrounded by colored pencils, intensely focused on a drawing. "What are you working on?" Ethan asked, setting down a bag of takeout from the boy's favorite burger place. Noah hesitated, then turned the paper around. It was a detailed sketch of Pine Grove Cemetery, with its winding paths and ancient trees. In the foreground was a small figure kneeling before a headstone. "It's very good," Ethan said softly. "You're talented, just like your mum." "I miss her," Noah said simply, returning to his drawing. "Thursday is her birthday. I need to bring her something special." Ethan felt a pang in his chest. "We could find something together if you'd like." Noah considered this, then nodded. She liked blue things and stars. "I remember," Ethan said, the words escaping before he could stop them. Noah looked up sharply. "You do?" She had a necklace with a star pendant, blue stones around it. She wore it all the time. The boy's eyes widened. "She's buried with it. She made me promise to put it with her. It was her favorite thing." The conversation was interrupted by Catherine's arrival. She had news. She'd located Michael Flanagan and convinced him to meet with Ethan. The meeting was set for the following afternoon at a diner in Salem. Michael Flanagan proved to be a gruff man in his 60s, with calloused hands and clear blue eyes that sized Ethan up with immediate suspicion. "So you're the famous Ethan Mitchell," he said after they'd ordered coffee. "Rebecca used to talk about you. Not all of it good." Ethan winced but pressed on. "I appreciate you meeting with me. I'm trying to understand what happened for Noah's sake. Why do you care now? You weren't around when she needed you." "I didn't know," Ethan said quietly. "She disappeared. I tried to find her, but not hard enough," Flanagan interrupted. "Look, I'm not here to make you feel better about the past. I'm here because that boy deserves better than what life's handed him. Rebecca was a fighter, kept them both going through the worst of it. When she got sick, she made me promise to look after Noah. I've done my best, but I'm an old man with bad knees and a fixed income." "What happened after she and I ended?" Flanagan sighed, his anger seemingly deflating. "She moved into my building, worked 2 jobs, never complained even when things got tough. She was proud, wouldn't take handouts. Then the pneumonia hit. Hospital bills wiped out what little savings she had. By the end, she couldn't work, couldn't even get out of bed some days. And Noah. He took care of her. 7 years old, making soup, helping her take medication. Kid grew up overnight. Flanagan's voice roughened. After she passed, the landlord gave me 2 weeks to clear out her apartment. Noah refused foster care, ran away twice when social services showed up, so I helped him set up that place by the warehouse, checked on him every couple days, made sure he had food. It was the best I could do. Did she ever mention me? To Noah, I mean. Flanagan studied Ethan for a long moment. Not directly, but she kept a box of mementos. Your picture was in there, along with some letters she never sent. And this. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet pouch. She wanted Noah to have this when he was older, but I think he should have it now. Ethan accepted the pouch, opening it to find a man's watch. His watch, the one he'd thought he'd lost shortly before Rebecca disappeared. Attached was a small note in Rebecca's handwriting. For Noah, so he'll always know where he came from. There's something else you should know, Flanagan said, his expression grave. The timing. Noah was born January 12th, count backwards. Ethan did the mental calculation, his suspicions confirmed. Noah had been conceived during his relationship with Rebecca. Does he know? Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. That you're his father? Rebecca never told him outright, but kids are smart. He might have figured it out. Flanagan leaned forward. What are your intentions here, Mitchell? Because if you're just passing through this boy's life to ease your conscience, then drive. Back to your mansion and forget about him again. I'd rather you leave now. He's been through enough. I want to be in his life, Ethan said with a certainty that surprised even himself. I want to take care of him, give him the stability he deserves. And your wife? How does she feel about all this? Ethan's silence was answer enough. That's what I thought, Flanagan said, standing up. Fix your own house before you try to rescue someone else's. He placed a business card on the table. My number. Noah trusts me. If you're serious about this, you'll need my help. If not, stay away from him. He can't handle any more disappointment. As Flanagan left the diner, Ethan sat motionless, the watch heavy in his hand. Outside, rain began to fall, mirroring the storm brewing inside him. Everything had changed, yet everything was finally clear. Noah wasn't just Rebecca's son. He was Ethan's son too. A son he never knew he had. A son who had been visiting his mother's grave alone while Ethan built buildings and attended galas, oblivious to the life he had helped create, and then unwittingly abandoned. The guilt was overwhelming, but beneath it pulsed something stronger. Resolve. Whatever it took, whatever he had to sacrifice, Ethan would make this right. For Noah, for Rebecca, and for the family they should have been. Amanda Mitchell had always lived a carefully curated life. The only daughter of Harrison Investment Group's founder, she had been raised with clear expectations: excel academically, marry well, uphold family traditions, and maintain the Harrison legacy of philanthropy and social influence. She had fulfilled these expectations flawlessly, including her marriage to Ethan Mitchell, a man whose drive and vision matched her own pragmatic ambition. Their partnership had been successful by any objective measure. Together, they had expanded Mitchell Development into one of Boston's most influential real estate firms, while elevating their social standing through strategic philanthropy. If their relationship lacked passion, it compensated with mutual respect and shared goals. Also, Amanda had believed. Now, as she stood at the window of her home office, watching Ethan and Noah walk through the garden with that mongrel dog, she felt the first serious tremors in the foundation of her carefully constructed life. Mrs. Mitchell? Her assistant's voice interrupted her thoughts. The Heritage Foundation Board is waiting for your decision on the summer gala venue. Tell them I'll have an answer by tomorrow, Amanda replied, not turning from the window. Below, Ethan was showing Noah how to prune the apple trees, their heads bent together in matching concentration. After her assistant left, Amanda sank into her leather chair and opened her laptop. She had resisted the urge to investigate Noah Collins for 2 weeks. telling herself she was respecting Ethan's charity project. But the way Ethan looked at the boy, with a tenderness she'd never seen directed at anyone, including herself, had finally overcome her restraint. She began with simple searches: Rebecca Collins, Salem, Massachusetts, art exhibitions, property, records, social media. Then she cross-referenced with Ethan's calendar from 7 and 8 years ago. The picture that emerged sent ice through Amanda's veins. 8 years ago, Ethan had been a sponsor of the North Shore Arts Festival, where Rebecca Collins had been a featured artist. Following that, there were gaps in Ethan's schedule. Unaccounted evening hours, weekend business trips to Providence that didn't align with any Mitchell development projects. Then, abruptly, Rebecca Collins disappeared from public records for several months. When she resurfaced, it was in low-income housing in North Salem, working at a coffee shop rather than creating art. And approximately 9 months after the arts festival, a birth certificate was filed for Noah Collins. Father's name: unlisted. Amanda closed her laptop, her hands trembling slightly. She had always known about Ethan's brief relationships before their marriage. He had been honest about his past, but this was different. This wasn't just an old flame. This was a child, a living, breathing extension of a relationship that had clearly meant more to Ethan than he had ever admitted. The next morning, Amanda canceled her meetings and drove to Salem. She told herself she was simply gathering information, being practical. She parked near Bentley Elementary at dismissal time and watched as Catherine Reeves collected Noah, helping him into her sensible Honda with a gentleness that made Amanda's throat tighten unexpectedly. Following at a distance, Amanda tracked them to a small park where Noah played with another boy while Catherine sat on a bench watching. Without allowing herself to reconsider, Amanda approached and sat beside the social worker. "Ms. Reeves," she said, causing Catherine to startle, "I don't believe we've been properly introduced. I'm Amanda Mitchell." "Mrs. Mitchell," Catherine responded, quickly regaining her composure. "This is unexpected. I thought it was time we had a conversation about Noah Collins." Catherine's expression remained neutral. "I understand you must have questions." "Just one, really," Amanda said, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Is Noah my husband's biological son?" Catherine hesitated. "That's not for me to—" "Please don't insult my intelligence," Amanda interrupted. "I've done my research, the timing aligns perfectly, and one only needs to see them together to notice the resemblance." After a long pause, Catherine sighed. "We don't have definitive proof, but yes, it seems likely." Amanda nodded, absorbing the confirmation of what she already knew. "And Ethan is aware of this possibility? He's exploring it. He wanted to establish trust with Noah before addressing paternity directly." "I see." Amanda watched Noah on the playground, seeing for the first time what she had been avoiding: Ethan's profile in the boy's face, his deliberate movements. "Does Noah know?" "Not officially, but children are perceptive." Amanda stood, smoothing her skirt with practiced precision. "Thank you for your honesty, Ms. Reeves. I'd appreciate if you didn't mention this conversation to my husband just yet." Back at home, Amanda moved through the evening with mechanical efficiency. Dinner with a potential investor, a board call, emails answered. When Ethan returned from the guest house, later than usual, she was waiting in the living room with 2 glasses of wine. "We need to talk," she said, handing him a glass. Ethan accepted it warily. About your son, Noah Collins." The color drained from Ethan's face. For a moment he considered denying it, but something in Amanda's expression told him the time for half-truths had passed. "How did you find out?" "Does it matter?" "What matters is that you've been lying to me." She kept her voice controlled, distant. "Not just about who Noah is, but about who Rebecca was to you." Ethan set down his untouched wine. "I wasn't certain at first. About Noah, I mean. I suspected, but—" "Stop." Amanda raised a hand. "I'm not interested in your justifications. What I want to know is your plan. Because this situation affects me too, Ethan. My life, my reputation, My future. Amanda, Let me be clear, she continued, standing now, her composure beginning to crack. I will not play stepmother to your illegitimate child from a relationship you hid from me. I will not become the subject of gossip at every charity function and board meeting. And I will not stand by while you dismantle everything we've built, together for a child you didn't even know existed a month ago. Ethan's expression hardened. He's my son, Amanda, my responsibility. And what am I? An inconvenient obstacle. Her voice rose despite her efforts to remain calm. Did you think I wouldn't notice how you look at him? How you've changed everything? Our schedule, our home, our privacy, without a second thought for how it affects me. That's not fair. I've tried to keep this separate to respect your space. By installing him 50 yards from our bedroom, Amanda laughed bitterly. How considerate. They stared at each other across the elegant living room, the distance between them suddenly vast and unbridgeable. What do you want me to do? Ethan finally asked. Abandon him? Pretend I never found out? Amanda set down her glass with deliberate care. I want you to choose, Ethan. The life we built together, or this alternative family you've suddenly discovered. Because I won't share you. Not with Rebecca's memory and not with her son. She left him standing there, retreating to their bedroom and closing the door with quiet finality. The next day, Amanda took action. She contacted Bradley Wilson, a private investigator she'd used for vetting potential business partners, and gave him clear instructions. Find a suitable placement for Noah Collins, a good family, preferably out of state, who would be generously compensated for taking in a child with a troubled background. The boy needs stability, she explained, her conscience momentarily pricking at her calculated deception, a fresh start away from painful memories. Within days, Wilson had a solution. A childless couple in Vermont, who ran a small farm and had previously fostered children with traumatic backgrounds. They were looking for a permanent placement and were open to private adoption. Amanda approved the plan without allowing herself to dwell on the implications. On a crisp Tuesday morning, while Ethan was in New York for meetings and Catherine had taken the day off to attend a conference, Amanda's plan was set in motion. Wilson sent an associate, a friendly, trustworthy-looking man named James, to approach Noah as he played with Max in the garden. Hey there, James called, smiling warmly. You must be Noah. I'm a friend of Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell. Noah immediately tensed, backing away slightly. Max moved protectively to his side. I'm not supposed to talk to strangers, he said. Smart kid, James nodded approvingly. But I'm not a stranger. Mrs. Mitchell sent me to show you something cool. A place where you and your dog could have lots more space to run around. There are animals there, horses, chickens, and a family who'd love to meet you. Noah's suspicion only deepened. Where's Ms. Reeves or Mr. Mitchell? They know all about it. It's a surprise. James took a step closer. Just come take a look. My car's right outside the gate. If you don't like it, I'll bring you right back. Promise. What James didn't know was that one of Ethan's security guards, a retired police officer named Steve Donovan, had been watching the exchange from the garden shed. As James reached for Noah's arm, Donovan emerged. Everything okay here, Noah? He asked, his hand resting casually near his phone. This man says Mrs. Mitchell sent him, Noah explained, relief evident in his voice. To take me somewhere. Donovan's eyes narrowed. Is that right? Funny, Mrs. Mitchell didn't mention any visitors today when she left for her meeting downtown. James backpedaled quickly. Must be a miscommunication. I'll just call and clear this. Hup. You do that, Donovan agreed, already dialing Ethan's number. From the security office. Noah, why don't you head back to the guest house with Max? Lock the door until I come get you. By the time Ethan arrived home, having cut his New York trip short, the situation had escalated beyond Amanda's careful planning. Donovan had called not only Ethan, but also Catherine Reeves and the police. James had been detained, and after questioning had revealed Amanda's involvement. The confrontation that followed was nuclear in its intensity. Ethan found Amanda in her office, already packing files into her briefcase. How could you, he demanded, his voice shaking with a rage she had never witnessed before. He's a child, Amanda. My child. I did what was necessary, she replied, not meeting his eyes. What you weren't willing to do. Necessary? Kidnapping a 7-year-old boy? It wasn't kidnapping, she snapped. It was relocation. To a good home with people who could give him a normal life. Without his consent. Without my consent. Ethan's hands clenched at his sides. You were going to make my son disappear. Amanda finally looked at him, her eyes hard with a pain that matched his anger. He was already destroying our marriage. I just accelerated the inevitable. The sea. Silence that followed was more damning than any accusation. Finally, Ethan spoke, his voice quiet but resolved. I want you out of this house by morning. My lawyers will contact yours regarding separation terms. Amanda didn't argue. She had known from the moment Donovan called that she had lost, not just the battle, but everything. I was pregnant once, she said suddenly, stopping Ethan as he turned to leave. Before I met you, I lost the baby at 4 months. My parents took me to Switzerland, told everyone I was studying abroad. No one ever knew. She smiled bitterly. So you see, I understand what it's like to lose a child. The difference is, I never got mine back. Ethan's expression softened slightly, but his resolve didn't waver. I'm sorry for your loss, Amanda, but it doesn't justify what you tried to do. After he left, Amanda sat alone in her perfect office, in her perfect house, with her perfect life disintegrating around her. She had gambled everything on the belief that Ethan would choose the path they had built together. She had been wrong. By morning, she was gone. The guest house kitchen was quiet except for the soft clink of cereal spoons against bowls. Noah sat at the table, mechanically eating his breakfast, while Ethan attempted to appear engrossed in the morning paper. 3 days had passed since Amanda's departure, and although Noah hadn't witnessed the confrontation, the tension on the property was palpable. Is she coming back? Noah finally asked, breaking the silence. Ethan lowered his paper, unsure how to respond. Mrs. Mitchell and I, we're taking some time apart. Because of me, it wasn't a question. No, Ethan said firmly. Because of choices adults made. None of this is your fault, Noah. The boy pushed his half-eaten cereal away. That man was going to take me away. Mrs. Mitchell sent him. Ethan's heart sank. Despite his efforts to shield Noah from the truth, the boy had pieced it together. How did you know that? I heard Mr. Donovan talking to Ms. Reeves. Noah's eyes, so like Rebecca's, fixed on Ethan with uncomfortable directness. She doesn't want me here because I'm your son. That's true, isn't it? You're my dad. The question Ethan had been both dreading and longing to address hung in the air between them. He moved to sit beside Noah, his heart pounding. I believe I am, he said carefully. I loved your mother very much, Noah, but we lost touch before she knew she was expecting you. I never knew about you until recently. Would you have stayed if you knew? With us? The question pierced Ethan like a physical blow. Yes, he answered without hesitation. I would have done everything differently. Noah absorbed this, his expression unreadable. Mom kept your picture in her special box. She said you were important, but it was complicated. He fiddled with his spoon. Sometimes she'd look at it and cry. Ethan swallowed the lump in his throat. Noah, I need you to understand something. I didn't leave your mother on purpose. There was misunderstandings, people who interfered. I thought she didn't want to see me anymore. What people? Ethan hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. Business associates who didn't approve of our relationship. It was a different time in my life and I made mistakes. I trusted the wrong people. Like Mrs. Mitchell? No, this was before I met Amanda. Ethan sighed, recognizing the need for complete honesty. After your mother disappeared from my life, I eventually met Amanda. We built a life together that made sense on paper. But finding you, learning about your mother, it changed everything for me. Made me see what really matters. Noah considered this, his young face serious with contemplation. What happens now? That depends partly on you, Ethan said. I'd like you to stay here with me permanently, if that's what you want. What about Max? Ethan smiled despite the heaviness of the moment. Max too, of course. This would be your home, both of you? What if she comes back, Mrs. Mitchell? She won't, Ethan assured him, though the reality of his crumbling marriage was still setting in. But even if circumstances change, nothing will change the fact that I'm your father, and my priority is making sure you're safe and happy. Noah didn't immediately respond. Instead, he slid off his chair and walked to his backpack, which hung on a hook by the door. He returned with a small wooden box, weathered and clearly well handled. This was Mom's, he explained, setting it on the table. Mr. Flanagan gave it to me after she went away. Ethan recognized it immediately, a hand-carved jewelry box he had given Rebecca for her birthday. With reverent care, Noah opened it, revealing a small collection of treasures. A blue star pendant necklace, a twin to the one she was buried with, Ethan realized. A smooth stone with a natural hole through the center, a pressed flower, several small sketches, and at the bottom a photograph. Ethan's breath caught as Noah removed the photo. It showed Ethan and Rebecca at a beach in Rockport, laughing into the camera, the wind tousling their hair. On the back, in Rebecca's flowing script, "The happiest day, E+R, summer 2016. She said it was the day she knew she loved you, Noah," said simply. Tears welled in Ethan's eyes as he gently took the photograph. "I remember this day. We had clam chowder at Roy Moore's and spent hours looking for sea glass." He handed it back to Noah. "Your mother was the most genuine person I've ever known. She saw beauty in everything." "She said I got that from her," Noah offered, the hint of a smile touching his lips. "But I got my stubborn from you." Ethan laughed, wiping away a tear. She was right about that. The moment was interrupted by a knock at the door. Catherine Reeves entered, her expression apologetic. "Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here to see you both, Michael Flanagan." The older man stepped into the guest house, removing his worn cap. "Hope I'm not barging in." "Mr. Flanagan!" Noah's face lit up, and he ran to hug the superintendent. "Hey, kiddo!" Flanagan's gruff exterior softened as he embraced the boy. "You doing okay?" "I'm staying here now," Noah informed him, "with my dad." The simple declaration, "my dad," sent a wave of emotion through Ethan so powerful he had to grip the edge of the table. Flanagan nodded, his eyes meeting Ethan's over Noah's head. "So I heard. That's actually why I'm here." He turned to Catherine. "Mind giving us a few minutes?" After Catherine left, Flanagan settled at the table, declining Ethan's offer of coffee. "I've been holding on to something for a long time," he began, pulling an envelope from his jacket pocket. "Rebecca made me promise to give this to you if you ever came looking for Noah." The envelope was yellowed with age, sealed with a strip, curved blue washi tape. Ethan's name was written on the front in Rebecca's unmistakable handwriting. "She wrote it when she knew she wasn't getting better," Flanagan explained. "Said it was important you understood everything if the time came." With trembling fingers, Ethan opened the envelope and unfolded several pages of handwritten text. "Dear Ethan," it began, "if you're reading this, two things have happened. I'm gone, and you've found our son." The room faded around Ethan as he immersed himself in Rebecca's final words. She explained how she discovered her pregnancy weeks after their relationship ended, how she tried to reach him but was intercepted by James Donovan, his business partner at the time. Donovan had convinced her that Ethan was engaged to Amanda Harrison and wanted no complications from past relationships. He had offered her money to disappear, which she had refused. "I was too proud to fight for what I thought was a lost cause," she wrote. "Too hurt to consider that you were being lied to as well. By the time I realized the truth, Noah was born, you were married, and it seemed cruel to disrupt the life you'd built." She described raising Noah alone, her determination to give him a good life despite limited resources. She wrote of telling him stories about his father, a good man who would have loved him if he'd known, and of her decision to name him Noah, after Ethan's grandfather, a detail she'd remembered from one of their conversations. "I don't write this to burden you with guilt or obligation," the letter continued. "I've made my peace with our story, but Noah deserves to know his father, and you deserve to know your son. He has your eyes, your analytical mind, your kindness beneath a cautious exterior. He is the best of both of us." The final paragraph brought fresh tears to Ethan's eyes. "If you're reading this, it means you chose to find him, to know him. That gives me more comfort than I can express. Love him, Ethan. Not out of duty or guilt, but because he is wonderful and worthy of love. And forgive yourself as I forgave you long ago. Life is too short and too precious for regrets. With eternal love, Rebecca." Ethan folded the letter carefully, overwhelmed by the grace of a woman who had faced unimaginable challenges with dignity and love. "She never blamed you," Flanagan said quietly, "even when she had every right to." "But she should have," Ethan replied, his voice rough with emotion. "I should have looked harder, questioned more." "Maybe," Flanagan conceded, "but that's done now. What matters is what you do from here." Noah, who had been quietly watching this exchange, spoke up. "Can I read it, the letter?" Ethan hesitated, then nodded. "When you're a little older. For now, just know that your mother loved you more than anything in the world. And she wanted us to be together." As Noah returned to his cereal, Flanagan leaned closer to Ethan. "There's something else you should know. That partner of yours, Donovan, he didn't just lie to Rebecca. He actively kept her away, returned her letters, blocked her calls. Rebecca found out near the end when she tried one last time to reach you." Ethan's jaw tightened. "James died last year." "Convenient for him," Flanagan remarked dryly. "But you might want to check if any of his associates are still in your company, people who might have helped him keep his secret." The implication was clear. If James had gone to such lengths to separate Ethan from Rebecca, he likely hadn't acted alone. And with Amanda's recent actions, Ethan couldn't help wondering if the connection between past and present deceptions was more than coincidental. As Flanagan prepared to leave, he pulled Ethan aside. "One more thing. Rebecca's medical bills, they're still out there gathering interest. The hospital's been trying to collect from her estate, but there is no estate. Just a box of memories and a boy with nothing to his name." "I'll take care of it," Ethan promised. "All of it." After Flanagan departed, Ethan watched Noah clearing the breakfast dishes, struck by how naturally the boy had adapted to his new surroundings despite the upheaval. There was a resilience in him that spoke of both Rebecca's strength and challenges no child should have to face. "Noah," Ethan said, making a sudden decision, "how would you feel about coming to my office today? There's something important I need to do, and I'd like you to be part of it." 2 hours later, Noah sat in a chair by the window of Ethan's downtown office, sketching the Boston skyline while Ethan and his lawyers finalized a series of documents. Diane had been visibly startled when Ethan introduced Noah as his son, but she had recovered quickly, offering the boy drawing supplies and a tour of the executive floor. "These are ready for your signature, Mr. Mitchell," his attorney said, sliding several documents across the desk. "The trust for Noah Collins, the petition for legal paternity, and the initial paperwork for adoption proceedings, should that become your preference." Ethan signed each document with a sense of rightness that had been missing from his life for too long. With each signature, he was not just securing Noah's future financially, but also making a public declaration: "This is my son." A declaration that would undoubtedly spark gossip and speculation throughout Boston's business and social circles. But as he looked at Noah, absorbed in his drawing and occasionally chatting with Diane, Ethan realized he didn't care about the whispers and judgments that would follow. For the first time in his adult life, he was making a decision based not on strategic advantage or social expectations, but on love. Pure, uncomplicated love for a child who had survived against impossible odds. A child who, despite everything, had kept faith that somewhere in the world he had a father who would one day find him. 6 months later, the guest house stood empty. The furniture remained, but the personal touches, Noah's drawings on the refrigerator, Max's dog bed by the fireplace, the collection of books and toys that had accumulated, had been moved to the main house, not to a guest room or a hastily converted office, but to a space that had been redesigned entirely with Noah in mind. The transformation of the Mitchell estate had extended beyond physical changes. The formal dining room where Amanda had hosted carefully orchestrated dinner parties now regularly featured pizza nights and board games. The immaculate garden had been partially replanted with vegetables, which Noah tended with Catherine's guidance. Max had worn paths through the previously pristine landscaping, chasing squirrels and tennis balls. On this particular Sunday morning, Ethan stood at the kitchen island, preparing breakfast while Noah set the table, a domestic scene that would have been unimaginable in his previous life. "Don't forget we're meeting Mr. Flanagan at the cemetery at 11, Noah reminded him, carefully placing napkins beside each plate. "I remember," Ethan assured him. "I've got the flowers in water, in the mudroom." Today marked 1 year since Rebecca's passing. By unspoken agreement, they had decided to honor the day together, maintaining Noah's tradition of visiting her grave, but transforming it from a solitary vigil to a shared remembrance. As they worked, Ethan marveled at how naturally they had settled into their roles as father and son. There had been challenges, of course. Noah's initial wariness had given way to testing boundaries. There had been nightmares, moments of grief that ambushed them both, questions Ethan wasn't always prepared to answer. The legal process of establishing paternity and securing permanent custody had been complicated by Amanda's initial opposition, though she had eventually withdrawn her objections as part of their divorce settlement. But for every difficult moment, there had been 10 that confirmed Ethan was exactly where he was meant to be, helping with homework, teaching Noah to swim in the pool that had previously been used only for Amanda's lap exercises, watching his son's face light up when Ethan attended his first school art show. The doorbell interrupted Ethan's reflections. Noah ran to answer it, returning with Catherine, who visited regularly despite no longer being professionally involved with their case. "Something smells amazing," she said, accepting the coffee Ethan offered. "Dad's making Belgian waffles," Noah announced proudly, "with the recipe from that place in Salem we like." Ethan smiled at the casual use of dad, a term Noah had begun using about 3 months after moving into the main house. It had happened without fanfare. Noah had simply called out Dad when he wanted to show Ethan a particularly impressive Lego creation. Ethan had been so overwhelmed he'd had to excuse himself to the bathroom to compose himself. "So, big day," Catherine said, taking a seat at the island. "How are you both feeling?" "Okay, I think," Ethan answered, glancing at Noah for confirmation. "We've been talking about it all week, haven't we, bud?" Noah nodded. "Mom would like that we're going together and that Max is coming too." At the sound of his name, the dog padded into the kitchen, his coat now glossy and his eyes bright with health. He settled at Noah's feet with a contented sigh. "I have something for you," Catherine said, reaching into her bag. "I was helping clear out some old files at the community center, and I found this." She handed Noah a program from a ceramics exhibition at the Salem Arts Festival, dated 7 years earlier. On the cover was a photograph of a blue ceramic vase with a star pattern, unmistakably Rebecca's work. "Mom's pot!" Noah exclaimed, tracing the image with his finger. "She told me about this one. It got a special award." "First place in mixed media," Catherine confirmed. "I thought you might want to add it to your memory box." The memory box had been Ethan's idea, a place for Noah to keep mementos of Rebecca alongside new memories they were creating together. Housed in a handcrafted wooden chest made by a North Shore artisan, it contained Rebecca's letters, photographs and small treasures Noah associated with his mother, as well as ticket stubs, photographs and souvenirs from his new life with Ethan. "Thanks, Ms. Reeves," Noah said, carefully adding the program to his growing collection of memories. After breakfast, they drove to Pine Grove Cemetery in Salem. The day was clear and crisp, the October foliage at its peak, red and gold leaves drifting down to carpet the winding paths between gravestones. Michael Flanagan was waiting for them at the cemetery entrance, a bundle of blue irises in his weathered hands. "Right on time," he greeted them, ruffling Noah's hair. In the months since Ethan had taken custody, Flanagan had become a regular presence in their lives, joining them for dinner most Sundays, helping with renovation projects around the house, filling in the gaps in Noah's early history that only he knew. Together, the four of them walked to Rebecca's grave. Ethan had replaced the modest headstone with a more substantial one, carved from blue-grey granite, with a star motif echoing her artwork. The inscription read simply, "Rebecca Collins, beloved mother, artist, soul of light." As Noah arranged their flowers, Ethan's white roses, Flanagan's irises, and the wildflowers Noah had insisted on gathering himself that morning, Ethan was struck by how different this moment felt from the first time he had stood at this grave. The crushing guilt and regret were still present, but they were now tempered by something else. Gratitude for the second chance he'd been given, for the son who connected him forever to the woman he had loved and lost. "Mom," Noah began, addressing the headstone directly, "I brought Dad today, like I promised. And Mr. Flanagan and Ms. Reeves too, and Max, see?" The dog sat obediently beside Noah, seeming to understand the solemnity of the occasion. Noah continued his one-sided conversation, updating his mother on school projects, his new bedroom, the vegetable garden. He spoke with the unself-conscious directness of childhood, neither maudlin nor uncomfortable with addressing someone no longer physically present. And guess what? Dad's building a studio at the house, with big windows and special lights, like you always wanted. He says I can use it too for my art. Ethan blinked back tears. The studio had been his most recent project, a space inspired by a sketch he'd found among Rebecca's possessions, showing her dream workspace. It was his way of honoring her creative spirit and encouraging the artistic talent Noah had inherited. Noah continued chatting. Flanagan moved to stand beside Ethan. "How you're doing good by him," the older man said quietly. "Rebecca would be proud." "I hope so," Ethan replied. "I'm trying to make up for lost time." "You can't get those years back," Flanagan said, his tone matter-of-fact rather than accusatory. "But you're giving him a future. That counts for something." After Noah finished his update, they stood in silence for several minutes. Then, by unspoken agreement, Catherine and Flanagan began walking back toward the entrance, giving father and son a moment alone. Ethan knelt beside the headstone, placing his hand on the cool granite. "I wish I could thank you," he said softly. "For him, for keeping faith even when I didn't deserve it. I promise I'll do everything in my power to be worthy of him, of the trust you placed in me through your letter." Noah slipped his hand into Ethan's. "She knows, Dad." Ethan squeezed his son's hand, marveling at the wisdom that sometimes emerged from his young mind. "I think you're right." As they walked back through the cemetery, Noah pointed out the changes since Ethan's first visit: new plantings, a restored section of Victorian headstones, the caretaker's cottage where Frank Winters still lived and watched over the grounds. "It's not scary anymore," Noah observed. "Coming here, I mean." "No," Ethan agreed. "It's just a way of remembering." At the gate, they found Catherine and Flanagan deep in conversation, their heads bent close together. Ethan had noticed an increasing warmth between the social worker and the superintendent over the past months. Subtle glances, inside jokes, a comfortable familiarity that suggested something beyond professional respect. "Ready for the next part of our day?" Ethan asked as they approached. Noah nodded enthusiastically. The cemetery visit was important, but they had decided to balance remembrance with celebration. The afternoon would be spent at the Salem Arts Festival, the same event where Ethan and Rebecca had first met 8 years earlier. "We'll meet you there," Catherine told them, a slight flush coloring her cheeks as Flanagan helped her into her coat. The festival had expanded since Ethan's last attendance, now spanning several blocks of Salem's pedestrian-friendly downtown. Artists' booths lined Essex Street, while performance stages featured everything from classical ensembles to experimental dance. Food vendors offered local specialties, and children's activities were scattered throughout the venue. Noah moved through the festival with confidence, greeting several artists by name, connections. He'd made through the art therapy program Catherine had enrolled him in during his transition to living with Ethan. He proudly showed Ethan the ceramics exhibition, pointing out techniques Rebecca had used and styles that reminded him of her work. As they explored, Ethan noticed a familiar face, Frank Winters, the cemetery caretaker, manning a booth of handcrafted wooden birdhouses. "Mr. Frank," Noah called, rushing over, "I didn't know you made these." "Been doing it for 30 years, the older man replied, pleased by Noah's recognition. "Your mother used to stop and chat whenever she visited the cemetery. Always admired my cardinal houses." "She had one," Noah recalled suddenly, "on our apartment balcony, with blue trim." "That's right," Frank nodded. "I gave her that one as a gift after you were born. She'd bring you in a stroller sometimes when you were just a tiny thing. Used to say the peaceful energy was good for babies." Another piece of the puzzle, another connection Ethan hadn't known about. He was continuously discovering how many lives Rebecca had touched, how many people still carried memories of her kindness, her creativity, her quiet determination. They continued through the festival, eventually meeting up with Catherine and Flanagan at the main stage, where a youth orchestra was performing. As they listened to the music, Ethan found himself reflecting on the journey of the past year, from the solitary, driven businessman focused on expansion and acquisition to a father whose priorities had shifted dramatically. Mitchell Development was still successful, but Ethan had restructured his role, delegating day-to-day operations to allow more time with Noah. He had established the Rebecca Collins Memorial Scholarship for young artists and launched an affordable housing initiative in North Salem, inspired by the struggles Rebecca had faced as a single mother. The divorce from Amanda had been finalized 3 months earlier. She had returned to her family name and taken a position with her father's company in New York, effectively removing herself from Boston's social scene. Their last conversation had been surprisingly civil, an acknowledgement that their marriage had been built on compatible goals rather than genuine connection, and that its dissolution, while painful, was perhaps inevitable. "Hey, Dad," Noah tugged at Ethan's sleeve, interrupting his thoughts. "Can we get hot chocolate? The booth over there has the kind with real chocolate shavings." "Absolutely," Ethan agreed, allowing himself to be pulled toward the vendor. As they waited in line, Noah suddenly grew serious. "Dad, are you sad today?" Ethan considered the question thoughtfully. "A little. I miss your mum, even though I didn't get to be with her at the end. I'm sad about the time we lost, both with her and with you." Noah nodded, processing this. "But are you also happy?" "Sometimes I feel both at the same time." "Yes," Ethan said, crouching to meet his son's eyes. "I'm very happy to have you in my life, to be your dad, to be here with you today. It's possible to feel sad about what we've lost and grateful for what we have, all at the same time." "That's what Mom used to say," Noah replied, his face lighting up with the memory. "She said feelings are like those paint sets where colors mix together. They don't have to be just one thing." Ethan smiled, recognizing Rebecca's wisdom in her son's words. She was right about that, like she was about so many things. After hot chocolate, they rejoined Catherine and Flanagan, who had been joined by several of Noah's classmates and their parents, part of the extended support network that had developed around them. As the children ran ahead to a puppet show, Ethan found himself walking beside Catherine. "I wanted to thank you," he said, "for everything you've done for Noah, for us." Catherine smiled. "I was just doing my job." "No," Ethan shook his head. "You went far beyond your job. You saw a child who needed connection and made sure he found it. You could have just reported the situation and moved on, but you didn't." "He's a special kid," she replied. "And seeing you two together now, it was worth every extra hour, every rule I bent." "He asked me earlier if I was sad today," Ethan confided, "and I realized that what I feel most is whole. For the first time in my adult life, like I've finally found the part of me that was missing." "That's called being a parent," Catherine said simply. "The good kind, anyway." As evening fell, lanterns illuminated the festival grounds, casting a warm glow over the autumn scene. Noah returned from the puppet show, his eyes bright with excitement, Max trotting faithfully at his heels. Flanagan announced he was taking Catherine to dinner at a new restaurant on the waterfront, earning a knowing smile from Noah. "Just us for the evening then," Ethan said as they waved goodbye to the pair. "What would you like to do, buddy? Head home?" Noah considered this, then shook his head. "Can we walk by Mom's old studio first? The one above the bookstore?" Of course. Hand in hand, they made their way through Salem's historic district to a charming brick building that housed wicked good books on the ground floor and artist studios above. Rebecca's former workspace was now occupied by a textile artist, but the building itself remained unchanged, a tangible connection to her creative life. "She used to bring me here on Sundays," Noah recalled, as they stood across the street looking up at the illuminated windows. "I'd color while she worked on her pots. Sometimes we'd get ice cream after, even in winter." "She always did love ice cream in any weather," Ethan remembered with a smile. Said cold was a state of mind. "Can we get some to finish Mom's day?" "I think that's a perfect idea." They found a small ice cream shop still open despite the cooling weather, ordering Rebecca's favorite, mint chocolate chip, and sitting on a bench overlooking Salem Harbor. The lights of boats twinkled on the dark water, and the last vendors of the arts festival were packing up their wares. "Dad?" Noah asked, scraping the bottom of his ice cream cup. "Do you think Mum would be happy with how things turned out? With us?" Ethan put his arm around his son's shoulders, drawing him close. "I know she would. She loved you more than anything in the world, Noah. All she ever wanted was for you to be safe, happy, and loved, and you are. And for you to know me," Noah added. "She said that in her letter." "Yes," Ethan agreed, his throat tightening with emotion. "And that's the greatest gift she could have given me." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the harbor lights and sharing the peaceful moment. Then Noah stood, gathering their empty cups. "Ready to go home, Dad?" Home, the word carried such weight, such meaning, not the house with its imposing architecture and manicured grounds, but the life they had built within it, the routines and rituals, the inside jokes, the growing collection of memories, some bittersweet, some joyful, all precious. "Yes," Ethan said, rising to join his son. "Let's go home." As they walked back to the car, Max trotting ahead and Noah chattering about his school project due the following week, Ethan felt a sense of peace settle over him. The path that had brought them together had been marked by loss and missed connections, by wounds that would never fully heal, but it had led them here to this moment to each other. For a boy who had once knelt alone at a grave with wildflowers